Okay, welcome everyone to Treehouse number 17. Just going to post a quick link in the chat just to get started, just to that poll that was in the forum. So if anyone hasn't completed the poll yet, go and fill that out if you can, and we'll come back to that in a little while. So yeah, version 5.4 was released. That had some pretty good stuff in it. Obviously the advanced CRM, a lot of people were waiting for. That was a good one. And the CRM as a data source, so you can attach a customer record to a module or something. So I'm sure everyone's got some projects that they're going to start using that with. And of course, custom reports was another good one, which looks pretty good. So has anyone started implementing those right away yet, or still sort of looking into how that works? Still early days.
Yep. I was up there requesting it pretty early on, and I've since had a few issues with it, and I've got another one that I'm hoping to rally a bit of support here today to get some changes. But Violetta's been going pretty well, getting her team anyway to get changes done, because it was a site that had to go live, and there was quite a few things that were crucial, so they managed to get it done real fast while updating to 5.4, and it was me causing the 5.41, I think, and then obviously going for all the live sites as well. So I know it was a pretty busy period, and I was pretty grateful to get it sorted, but there are still a few issues with it.
Yeah, it's good to hear they were able to work on that quickly for you. Yeah, I mean, there's always a few issues when the releases come out. I think they've been pushed out so quick, but
the one issue that I'll raise since I brought it up is in BC, obviously, when you were doing any kind of exporting from reports to do with anything, it would typically export into the CSV so that the columns, I mean, they made pretty good sense. It would be case number, name, address, email, and so on, and it would just naturally flow as per the fields that you'd chosen on your report or on your when you were exporting. However, what I've found is when you're exporting any reports from Treepl, the orders are quite random, and the order of the columns, like particularly if you're selecting what fields you want to be in that report, it tends to follow, like if you were looking at the way the selection of forms has been set up in custom forms, or in fact any of the forms, there'll be two columns and you'll tick, 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 and instead of going down a logical order in the column, it goes left, right, left, right, left, right when it's exported. So you end up getting this really random order of the name will be in the sort of third column, and then the email address will be in about the 10th, and then the person's address column's in the second, or like it's just really random. But what I've kind of worked out is that it seems to follow how Treepl have set it up on the web page, so that it's going left, right, rather than down the left column and then down the right column. It's probably hard to see without looking at it on the screen, but it's really, I think, a simple fix. If Treepl just had a single column of fields to select from, then in theory it would export in that order, rather than having to figure out which column to select the order of export, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think I'm following you there. Yeah, so I haven't experienced that yet. But
yeah, it really it's just a problem when exporting.
Yeah. Fair enough.
The other issue we've had is the advanced CRM groups. You can't import and export that information at the moment. Like in reports, it's not there at all. So we can't upload, like we've got some clients who are moving from BC and they've got all these advanced CRM fields, but we can't actually import them into the system because reports hasn't been set up to be able to allow to import those advanced CRM groups. So that makes it a little bit difficult, but hopefully we'll get that sorted. I think they said they're going to try and fit that into the next sprint, so that would be really good.
Yeah, I think they just try and get the feature out there first and then add on those extra bits that go along with it all the time. Same thing happened with the products. I think we couldn't import all the data, but now we can. So
I've actually just opened an email, so I've only just set to my desk, but I've just had an email here from Violetta to say that one of the other issues in the columns when they're exporting, and it is a problem when you're trying to align it with some of your CRM stuff as well, is that the columns have these annoying bracketed descriptions of, it's like a pre-description of what that column's going to contain. Instead of just the name, it has a bracketed description of that column. And she's come back saying that some of these items, or a bunch of these items, are going to be fixed in 5.6. So I don't know when that's going to be, because we're at 4 now. So clearly there's a bit of work to do before that happens.
Okay. And on the advanced CRM side of things, if you're adding in those custom fields and trying to use them on the website, there's obviously that GDPR setting that the user has to tick on their side. Obviously, for people in regions where the GDPR doesn't apply, do people see that as a bit of a hurdle to overcome? Or do you think that's a good thing, really, to have? I know in Australia we don't really, I'll say, suffer from the GDPR requirements.
Neither here in New Zealand.
I'm hoping that there will be a little loophole to get around that.
I have a question for that, Adam. And I don't know if you've tried that yet, but when you export and import, can you set this on import or export? Or is that the field which is not available yet on export and import?
Yeah, I have a feeling it's not available yet. That was the next thing I was going to try to see if importing would. I have a feeling we probably will be able to turn it on with an import, but hopefully. But I don't think it's available yet to import. But yeah, it's certainly looking good. Pretty much identical to how BC did it, I think, really, with the forms, the custom fields. So I did have a little bit of news from Alex. Just so on August the 1st, Treepl turned 2. So it's been 2 years of development under Treepl, which I was surprised by. I didn't think it'd been that long. Pretty bummed that I still have sites on BC though. So. How's everyone else going with migrations? Everyone's still got sites, I take it?
We have big ones, actually, really big ones.
Yeah.
I mean, we just migrating. We have 3 really big ones, like 3 elephants, and we just did 1, and 2 more to go. So yeah, that's it then. So
awesome.
It's okay. September is like still long, but not too long.
Yeah, it'll come around quick.
Yeah, that's the problem. I'm the same. I've got 1 really monster and a couple of small ones, and I'm hoping, well, the monster's probably going to drag over, I think. So I'm going to try and sneak in the small ones before everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still concerned. We've got, I think, about 24 still in BC, mostly e-commerce, and we've been waiting on the e-commerce functionality, obviously, which is still not quite there in terms of migrating most of those sites. Some of them, yes, but most of them, no. So, yeah, starting to get a little concerned, but we'll get there.
We're in the same bucket with Andy. We've got about 28 to go, and a lot of them I can't migrate because functionality's not there. So,
is that e-commerce functionality as well, Lee, or something else?
Yeah, so some of them just really, wobbly's not the right word. specific. Just have specific requirements that we just can't get to work properly. A lot of payable forms we're still having issues with. Just the way that clients want specific things set up, we just can't get to work properly. So,
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, I might just share my screen for a second. We'll just have a look at that poll, and I'll just do a few quick updates on the documentation. There's only a few things there. But, great. Can everyone see my screen there, just with the forum and documentation there? Cool. So, yeah, we've got 20 voters. The client usability, e-commerce, and performance sort of up there. That's sort of to be expected, I guess. I was a little, a bit surprised not to see developer tools a bit higher on the ranks there, but it's pretty close. Yep, nothing surprising there, I think. So hopefully that'll help Treepl keep moving in the right direction. And just on documentation, there's just been a few little minor updates, but one thing I went through all the date filters because there were, like, a lot of you were using the this string format time to get the formatting for dates, and there were a few discrepancies, like with how Treepl had implemented some of those things. So I went through and tested everything and added them all into the documentation. So one, they're all in the same place, and two, you should be fairly confident that these will work as expected. And likewise, they now have a similar date syntax to what BC was using. So we can use that as well. So that should help with migrations. And again, I've put in all the format in there because there are probably a few more discrepancies with how BC was doing it as well. So yeah, that's all there to reference. And probably tomorrow there should be a few more updates to do with the 5.4 release in documentation. So that's about it for now. So on the other good feature in 5.4 was the JSON parsing to liquid. So I haven't had a chance to dig into that yet, but I believe Tim was going to do a demo on that. So Tim, are you ready to look at that now, or do you want to wait till the end? Or?
Oh, no, all good.
I'll pass it to you.
Everybody seeing my screen?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, that's a web page we migrated last week. We did a relaunch on that, but we migrated all the data, the block data, and there was one functionality which did my heading in BC because this company doing this blog, it's a blog page and it's part of a set of pages we are doing for them. There are some more up here, like we also need to do events and some other stuff. And this company is collaborating with a job search platform in terms that there's one department here, which is like Karriere, it means career, where they pull data from the site, and the site is also receiving data from the job search platform. And that happens whenever there is an article in this department about a certain company, which is also present on the job search platform. And I can show this to you quickly. First of all, like one really good thing in Treepl is like when we go into this department in a special part of the block, you see how things are changing here. Like there's a banner, there's like a new header, and there's even the menu here changes. There's a new name for this menu topic. This is also much easier in Treepl than it was before in BC because we can pull data from everywhere in the template, on the detail page. We have all the data available, and this was really in the block in BC. This was really a nightmare we had to work with jQuery, JavaScript all the time. So this is already like great. Now, I'll give you an example. I go here in the back end and check the blog, and I have one there, which I know. This is a company, and I'm just doing this live. We get like from the job search platform, they're exporting a PDF like in real time, where they provide all the names of the companies on the platform. And all of them have a little like slug, like for instance, company I'm talking about now, Treepl, and it's there. So this is the slug. We get it from them. There's an URL, and this URL is providing this PDF, which is a good thing, by the way. I wish Treepl would do that we can actually generate like parse PDF documents on a server. That might be something for the future. So, and I have this blog article here, which is about this company, right? And I have one property here. It says Slug für Karriere Mittelhessen, like Slug for Career Mittelhessen. And I put in this slug here. I just show you the article before. So we have a before and after. This is before. And first of all, I added to this like part of the blog career part to see what this is doing. So, and it's already adding every information here. Like I've added the slug here, and I have like all the information about the company. Like I have the logo, the URL for the logo. I have how many employees they have, when they were founded, and I have like live information about what kind of employment is available, like for trainees and regular positions here. So, and I'll show you how we had to do this in BC first, and I'm using Dreamweaver for that, just as a side joke. I'm using Dreamweaver for all the old Adobe sites and Visual Studio Code for the new ones. So this is basically like this messy nightmare JavaScript here, where we had to render like fake information and then replace the fake information with the real information. And it's very difficult to check when a company is going off the platform and there is no JSON feed available anymore, because then all of this is kind of like not very easy to check. So, and I'm not really good in JavaScript, to say the least. So you see, this is how it's going there. And now I'm switching over to the new code. So this is how it's done in Treepl now. Everything is clean in Liquid. This is the module call here, right? And you see, this is basically the URL for the JSON endpoint. And I just put in here the property for the slug, which the editor has to put in the admin. And I do this here, like I put a little strip filter behind the parameter, because it can happen that the editor, when he's putting in the slug here in the admin, is like making a little space after that. And this space is basically being passed into the module code, and then there's no data coming. So easiest way is like to avoid user error is just to do a little strip filter here. And then I have all the data available. I mean, I can just try it out for you, how it looks like in the code when I need to replace the parameter with the slug. Okay, didn't work. What did I do wrong?
Got that data at the end there, Tim.
The URL is something missing in the URL, right? Ah, yeah. Here we go. So this is it's a bit small. Let me make it a bit bigger. So this is basically the JSON data we get from this endpoint, and you see the fields, and it's all translating here into these the properties in the module. Works brilliantly, and it worked right away. This was really amazing. We also export data from the site, by the way. I know that there was a request to have a RSS stream from original, like from Treepl, like we can do it, like we can have it in BC. And this site actually had, this old BC site had an RSS feed going to the main page of this company. You see this little compartment here is actually the latest blog articles. And this is pulled via RSS. And what we did is basically we faked an RSS feed. And to our surprise, this actually works. So we have a little page which is basically building the RSS feed without like a blank template, so nothing else other than this kind of XML structure here. And we call the module, and the module has a list layout which also resembles like the RSS XML kind of structure. And when you can actually validate that, and we did that, and the feed is actually valid. Of course, it has a wrong media type because it's text HTML. But for some of you, this might be a solution. Like if you need an RSS feed to export stuff from your pages to some partner company or something, partner page, for us, this worked. I also tried to fake a JSON feed, by the way, but this doesn't work. You know, a validator is always giving wrong media type error with that. So yeah, this is one of the good news from Treepl. This module like solved lots of problems for us. You guys have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So being an external link, I guess obviously Treepl has to wait for that link to resolve before it can get the data, before it can then render your page? Or like, have you found any issues there with, because I'm not sure how that actually works, but well, does it ever load in after your page is loaded or anything like that? Or?
It loads right away.
Yeah.
I mean, the JSON endpoint is like there in real time, right? So it just works.
Yeah.
I know that.
That's cool.
In Business Catalyst, we also had module JSON, and I know that I had this conversation at the time about using this for this kind of purpose, and it was said that they have like certain reasons why they don't allow external URLs to be used as a JSON feed or JSON endpoint, something like that. They just didn't want to like the data being pulled into the server by URL. So I was happy that it works now, but that answer your question? Maybe not.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, it looks great. Looks like it works really well. Because I would assume on Treepl side they would have to wait for that data. It must be doing some checks to wait to see if that loads before it can really load the page, because it's loading it into Liquid, which is done server side. So
you're talking about security issues.
Not so much security. I mean, there might be a security issue there, but just in terms of it, because it can't push that data into Liquid until it's ready. and then it can't render the page until Liquid's ready. So it must be doing all that on the server side, checking. I'm curious what would happen if the feed failed or the link timed out or something like that.
I see. Yeah.
Wonder what checks they have going on.
Well, I'm happy as long as it works.
Yeah.
We'll see what's happening when I don't know, when this other server has problems or like is timing out or it's not available or something like that. But if we already checked that, so if there is the wrong slug or the endpoint is not there, we can actually like check this in Liquid, and then this is basically not rendered. So if the data is not there, the module will basically be like 0 or null, and you can check this in Liquid. So that's what we actually also do in the code.
Yeah, awesome.
What I wanted to try, by the way, is to like what's happening if you fake like a JSON feed in Treepl and try to pull it in again with this module. But I haven't done this yet. But this is all like kind of not important anymore, as soon as Treepl might have this feature that we can actually render real media types like JSON or RSS or even PDF or something like that with Liquid. That would be awesome. Yeah,
that would be really good. I guess like how you were faking the RSS feed. So like any text-based file, like you might be able to work around like how you did with the RSS. I guess it depends on where you're using that data, because if the system that you're pulling it into checks for like the media type or does any other sort of checking, it might fail. Whereas if it just takes the file with the assumption that it's right, it might work. So it may just depend where you're putting that data.
Yeah, we have this application actually with one side where the developer on the other side, like the partnering side, has written a special script to pull in the data. And yeah, there was a whole drama connected to that with like the 500 items limit in Business Catalyst, because all the workarounds for 500 item problem in BC were mostly based on JavaScript. So this didn't work because we wanted to pull more than 500 items into this fake JSON feed, and it didn't work. So we had to do like major workarounds to get this working. Glad this is over now.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, I stop sharing my screen.
Was there any more questions for Tim there on that? Yeah, I think using that JSON parser might come in handy if you want to sort of mesh multiple modules together and list them all out together, or you might be combining modules to create one detail page or something like that. So yeah, I think there'll be a lot of uses for it when you get down to it. Okay, so next up, I think some of you wanted to just have a discussion about the secure file uploads. So all of the sort of issues there with it going in and out of the backlog. So does anyone still want to chat about that, or any concerns? Yeah. Go for it, Lee.
My main concern is it sort of sets a precedent for if a feature has been made live and then has an issue, that we're not getting it fixed. It's just, well, let's remove it and come back and visit it at a later date, which is all well and good if nobody's using it. But in this instance, it was working on live sites. There's launched sites, migrated sites that have been using the features. How do you go back and tell a customer, hey, look, I'm really sorry. We can't deliver this feature anymore. It's now gone into the very backlog. I have no estimated date for it to be fixed for you. I don't know when your site will be working again. I can't fathom that. If a bug's a bug, it needs to be fixed. It's not an improvement. It's not a new feature. It's a bug. It needs to be fixed. I'll hop off the high horse now.
Yeah, I agree with you there on that point, Lee. I guess in these, like my only defense on Treepl side would be that this is early days of rolling out these features quickly, and the backlog was changing. So hopefully, yeah, we don't see that set as a precedent, like you said. Hopefully they can get to it a little bit quicker than expected.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should be added to their internal backlog, is my thought, because it's a bug. We shouldn't have to re-vote to re-enable a feature that has already been voted on and made functional. Of course, there's priorities. I understand that. We've got limited resource and so forth. I'm very realistic about that. But this is an internal backlog issue of a bug that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I think that's just the big issue at the moment, just the priorities of things and the timelines. So yeah, I can only hope that all settles down as we move along and go past end of life, BC's end of life, and things start to roll out a bit smoother. Has anyone else got any thoughts?
I might jump in here quickly. I mean, I agree with Lee. I think it's a little bit on the not so nice side when it comes to communication, right? I mean, Lee is right when she says that this is basically has been implemented and was working, and then all of a sudden stopped working. And for us in the GDPR area, it's a no-go to like upload stuff and then have an open URL being there to be crawled or something. It's just the law is very clear. You have to take every available technical way. You have to go every technical way to secure personal data, and that's available. You can secure this data. So we can't use that functionality on any of our forms, which means it's not GDPR compliant. And I also get the point that there are priorities and as a backlog, but I find it a little bit like unfortunate, like to communicate, okay, this goes back to the backlog and it needs to be voted on. In my opinion, there are some features which should be like part of the initial design and not something partners have to vote on, like it should be done in the internal backlog, like Lee said. That's my opinion about that.
Yeah, they're good points too, Tim. So yeah, hopefully we don't see that again. Okay, that's about all my topics that I wanted to bring up. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to discuss, any issues or things they've been launching?
Adam, I've just seen Jack's commented in the chat there that someone had asked Alex if they were planning to set aside time just in case something like this happened, and it looks like it hasn't been scoped for. It's a little bit concerning.
Okay. So like we mean just like a period of time for checking the updates, is that what we're talking about? Like a sort of a Q&A time period? Or have I missed what we're talking about?
I'm just trying to interpret what Jack said there, sorry. Fixing the bugs, yeah. So fixing an issue like this, if it were to pop up, it doesn't look like time has been scoped to fix if this would occur. So if this is to happen with something else, an implemented feature doesn't work, they haven't scoped any resources to fix it.
If I can jump in really quickly, as I've understood when we talked about this last time, he mentioned that new features that are employed in the updates, if there's anything wrong with them, they will do like a hot patch within a week, or try to do it, and they will have people on staff that can do this. I know that has not happened with this, and I get that people are concerned about it, but I've never heard that they wouldn't set aside time for bugs and fixes in particular. And I think that, and I hope not, that this will be like the standard way of doing it, because all the other times when they've had problems, I think they've jumped in and fixed it as soon as possible. So I don't know why they've done it this way. I have no inside knowledge about it, but I don't think they want to solve everything like this, let it go back to the backlog and so on. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's the whole process of rolling out the updates to the trial sites first, seeing what bugs pop up, and there should be that time period before they roll it out to the live sites. And I know they have already rolled out hot fixes in the past like that, and are working on hot fixes right now for current bugs. So I think the whole form upload one is an odd case, and I don't think we'll really see things like that happen again, in my opinion. So that did bring me to something I did want to actually bring up. I forgot about just the whole backlog process of items going back to the forum, because I know, Peter, you were throwing a few more back into the forum there. And I had a quick discussion just with Vlad and Alex about how they were going to manage that, because if there's a lot going back to the forum and people commenting on some and not others and whatnot, it could be quite hard to track, particularly on the Treepl team side, on how they're going to track and manage that. So I didn't know, maybe Peter, if you had any ideas on ways that we could maybe tag them in the forums for when, like, they're sort of pending, and maybe when there's a time that we think that an item has been sufficiently discussed, or there's sufficient information there, we could re-tag it or something, just so that the team know when something is ready to look at. Because I just feel that they might not be able to monitor that sort of process very well. So I don't know if anyone has ideas on that, or Peter, if you had some thoughts on that, or.
Yeah, just to explain it real quickly. The thing is that there's around like 125, 130 items in the backlog at the moment. And Alex and Vlad reached out to me because like half of them didn't have a link to the forum discussion, because I guess most of them has been from early days when when we only used Slack and we didn't have the forum. So the problem was that there's a lot of topics, or there's a lot of requests that doesn't have the link to the forum, and therefore it hasn't gotten that many details. So we found that around half of them, like around 60, doesn't have links to the forum and may have insufficient details for them to review them so they can go into voting. So what I did, as you may have seen on the forum, was I took the ones that I felt, and I talked to the team that needed more details for them to review them. And then Vlad is going through the list of about the rest. I think there's like 40 or 45, just to check if some of them even needs more details, because some of them are like very basic. They might not be basic for the team to solve, but the description is very basic, so it wouldn't need more details. So Vlad will go through the list that I sent him. When I get them back, I will add the rest of them. If there's any requests where they need more details, I will add them to the form as well. These, and I had the same question for Vlad as you did, Adam, about. So when do we know that it has enough details for them to like move on with them. So what I've just my agreement with Vlad was that if somebody feels that this should be enough for them to understand what they need, we can just tag Vlad and he will go through them when he has the time to check and see. And then I guess I saw that they did like a tick box in their custom module where they could take off lacking information or lack of information, something like that. So I guess they will go through them, and then I will try and get them all up to speed so we know which one can be reviewed and which one can need more details from the partners.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. So you've got it sorted. All right. Anyone else want to bring up any topics? Or I think Frog, was it you? Did you say you wanted to discuss some?
Yeah, sorry, there's a bit of background noise all of a sudden, but I'll have to. Well, Violet has asked me to, similar to what we were just discussing about throwing something back into the forum. She's asked me to get support for these fixes in the reports that I was talking about earlier. So, and I only just read that email as I sat down for this meeting, so I'm not prepared to throw it in front of you at the moment. So I will chuck it up on either Slack or on the community. Probably Slack, I think, is the place for it. But again, it's one of those things, how structured is our support system on there as opposed to doing it through voting. And I actually really hate the whole voting thing. It drives me nuts. But I've got to get onto that because that's a pressing need. So you'll see something up on Slack today with that. I thought I would mention also that you would have seen me asking around about two-factor authorization a little while ago, and that was for the portal login. That turned out to be in the sort of not too hard basket, but it was going to be down the track, and I needed it quickly. So we've agreed that I'll be paying for that for this particular site that's just gone live. Violet has said that that's actually now done. They're just going. Sorry, there's a bit of noise in the background. And very shortly I'll be having that implemented on my site, but it will be available to everybody in the future as a portal login option, so that when you add a new user, you'll be able to add the option for them to have 2FA, just as an extra security thing. I just have some very paranoid clients in Korea, so they demanded that as part of this new build, and it was going to be a deal breaker, so that's why we've gone down this route.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Did you hear all that? It was a bit noisy, sorry.
No, that was fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for paying for that feature for us.
Yeah. I was a little bit, do I or don't I? But it was going to be a deal breaker, and in the end, this is a client that I can charge kind of whatever I want, which was nice. So,
awesome.
Yay for you.
Yeah, one more thing. As we're talking just now, I just put up a few minutes ago before this meeting, I put up a video on the forum in advanced development about our experiences with this block I was on earlier on with module JSON, because we have some problems with mostly two things. This is the item listing in the backend in the list view, and the tag management. So if anybody has time, just look in. We also have a workaround for that. So if somebody is interested, please check this video. And if anybody has an idea, maybe we didn't get something right, or I don't know, then just please comment.
Yeah, I saw that post, Tim. I'll definitely take a look at that. So Scott's just chatted. Anyone else having issues with events rendering slowly? So I personally haven't had any dealings with events at the moment, but feel free to chuck that up on the screen if you want, Scott. We can take a look, or could be an implementation issue or temporary server thing, not sure.
We should take a look. We're just discussing it here internally. We can show you what we're experiencing. I'm not sure. We just kind of used the approach that was put in the documentation. And essentially, the long and short is the calendar doesn't render. It takes, I don't know, tens of seconds to render on the front side, on the display side.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you remember the URL, Derek, offhand?
No.
I'll dig it up here. Give me a second and
Sure.
talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. So Megan, you just said you had one site of events was okay. Does that use the calendar as well?
No, but I've got a sample page with some events on it. Not many events, but I could share that. It's a live site. It's Queensland Water, my favourite site, Adam. So they didn't opt to use the calendar in their public view, but I have got a test that I'm just looking at now. It's probably got about a dozen events on it, but it's rendering okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I suspect it's the calendar because I think that uses JavaScript, doesn't it? So JSON to Ajax to pull that calendar in.
But even that one page, I'm just rendering the events.
Maybe because mine's not populated with many events. I don't know. I've only got about a dozen events in it.
Yeah, so Ryan's posted a link with a calendar and it seems to be loading fairly quick.
Here, I could share real quickly what we're experiencing. This is just a raw record, but it takes forever to build that object. That's what we're talking about. I could do a quick refresh to show you the time, but just spins and spins. Any thoughts?
Well, I can share experiences on not this module, but on module category list and module tag list. And I was talking with Vlad about this, and he said that there's like these two modules definitely need some optimization because they also need very long time to render if there's like lots of categories and lots of articles and lots of tags. So that might be the case here for some reason but you don't have lots of objects there, do you? I mean, there's only this one thing. So I don't know. That was just one idea. It doesn't look like the same problem. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, not sure there, Scott. I think it would have something to do with an Ajax JavaScript issue because I believe that's how the calendar is rendered. I'm not sure. I'd throw support a ticket and they might be able to look at it quickly for you.
Yeah, that was our thought. I just tried one of the links that you provided, Ryan, and yeah, it springs to attention. So it must be something. And when you built this one, Ryan, did you just use the documentation that was published there long ago?
Yeah, there's nothing really weird or odd going on. But one thing I did notice is that the site in general is really slow to load. If I just go to the home page, and I'm on, we have a gigabyte internet here, so it should be kind of flying. But the home page itself it took about 20 seconds to load. I don't know if you're having the same experience on pages that aren't related.
Not recently, no. Not that I'm aware of.
It loads, but I went to the radio page, for example, from the home page, and it took about 25 seconds or so to load. So unfortunately, I don't know why, but I just thought I'd share that because we are on a really quick internet connection here.
We are doing a lot of trickery on these list pages. There's a lot of knitted together custom modules. We're not having that, so I just tried it myself here. We're not having that speed issue for us. We're in Canada, and so this would be on the Canadian data center. So the site itself is functioning loosely to expectation, I think. It's not the snappiest thing based upon, you know, how we're doing a couple of things, but this event thing has got us stumped.
What is the, out of curiosity, what's the URL to the calendar page? Because I tested the event detail page and that took quite a long time to load as well.
Yeah. Do we have is there a calendar page there?
Like the one you're on, you mean?
Is that what this is? So if you're on our site, it's /events/Friday-test.
Okay.
/test-Friday-event. It's just all garbage data.
Okay. Yeah. Now I see the calendar. I just didn't scroll down far enough. Sorry. But yeah, that page did take quite a while to load for me. You're right. But
So
like I said, yeah, I was having issues with the other pages that weren't calendar related as well. When I click around the site from page to page, most of them are taking 15, 20 seconds or so to load. I looked in the console, I don't see any errors, so I'm not sure. You might have to run that by support and see what they say.
We are loading a lot of images on these lists.
Yeah, they are a little bit rich in response. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for your comments, folks. I appreciate that.
On that note about loading speeds, just a quick one. We had a problem with this page I showcased earlier on because we had a bot apparently crawling the page like heavily, and this got solved by Alexei from support quite quickly by putting this bot. It was a marketing bot, like nothing important, and we put this bot on like robot.txt and disabled it. So, and that fixed the problem immediately because we also had like the page was loading 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, not coming up. So it's worth contacting support on things like this.
So what was that? Sorry, Tim, like an external bot was crawling your page that was causing slow load times?
Yeah, was scraping data with multiple filter settings. And I was talking with Alex earlier before the meeting about this, and it was a bit mysterious because the URL, it's not a newly launched page. The URL was on BC before, so they must have been filtering that out, or I don't know, or probably they had filters in place. And when the URL changed over to Treepl a few days later, this bot like hit and disabled the page, and for long times. And
yeah, wow, okay.
Easy fix, robot.txt, if you know the bot.
Yeah. And Jill has put in the comment about uploading files over 100 meg. I haven't tried that personally, but anyone else have experience with large file uploads? Or what was the actual problem there, Jill?
Well, I finally talked to, sorry for the background noise. I got the dog playing with his toys here. Yeah, so I finally reached out afterwards. My client's the one that brought it up. He kind of said, "Oh, I can't upload. I can't upload anything." And we realized he had a 110 meg PDF catalog of one of his suppliers, and he just couldn't get it uploaded to the site. So we tried over and over a few different things, no warnings, and then finally I did submit a ticket, and they mentioned that they, I guess, were limited to 100 megs. So I just thought I don't know if that became an issue with anybody else. I just thought I'd check before I can, because this will be an issue with this client. They have a lot of large catalogs, and I don't want the client's not very tech savvy, so I don't want to throw him into an FTP kind of situation where he has to upload through FTP, which so right now I'm doing it for him, but it's just something I wanted to kind of just gauge the community and see if anybody else is using files that big or not, because it might not be worth them putting the time into, or me paying for it too. I may end up paying for it for this, because it's a similar client to what somebody else was mentioning. It's a large client, and they'll pay whatever they need to get the functionality. So I just wanted to kind of get an idea from you guys if it's an issue for you guys or not. But
we have actually a client who's using more than 100 meg sometimes. Like they provide handouts after events, and in these, it's basically archive files, and there's like 10, 20 PDFs in it. I always shrink them down, but sometimes it's really over 100. And I know that the BC limit was 250, if I'm not wrong, for media downloads. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. I would probably be happier if that limit would be the same on Treepl, to be honest.
But you're talking about from the front end, though, via forms? Yeah.
Also, I think media, when you, in this case, on the BC side, it's done with the media downloads, a module. Yeah. And I think the limit is 250 there too, if I'm not wrong. So it's I think there's a general limit in BC, like 250. Sounds like as if it's coming up on different parts of the system.
Because just to me, 100 megs is not big anymore. Like especially when you're looking at catalogs and PDFs, like they can get pretty big. You can compress them as much as you can, but you get like 100+ page catalog in PDF format, and you're definitely above that easily if there's a lot of graphics involved and so on. So it's just something I thought I'd check with you guys. But I got a ticket with them. I'll let them know what I want. Like they've told me to use FTP for now, but I might end up just paying for it, and like the other person did, and we'll all get a little bit higher through the file manager.
Yes, last I heard, what I've documented is that 200 meg was the file size limit for front-end uploads via a form. So I'll have to check if that's still accurate. I guess like when you're talking about really large files, if you're serving really large files across the website, it may be better to use like a file serving platform or file sharing platform, because that's going to add up your like your server resources and things like that. So, but yeah, if it's just one or two, probably not an issue. But I guess that looks like about it. Unless anyone wants to jump on the mic or jump in chat. I'll stop the recording and we can go from there.